is that the desk is now height adjustable. So I can work standing up. The reason I changed the desk is because I have a drawer for my keyboard, and to play this accurately, sometimes I need to adjust the desk. Let me go over all the details of the improvements I've made. But before I do, I just want to say, when you undertake to refresh your home studio, you probably have some goals in mind. Mine was to minimize a lot of the outboard gear that I had. I sold a mixer, I sold other things that I no longer use, and I try to minimize the gear that I really need. And this is kind of part way through. I wouldn't say I'm finished my studio refresh, but I think this is a good point to take a look at what I've done so far. The first thing you'll notice is I bought new speakers. I had passive speakers that weren't of great quality, and I wasn't that happy with them. So I bought these Atom Audio T7Vs, a pair of them, and I love them. The sound is great, and I'm really happy with them. I still kept this Kenwood amp to power other passive speakers that I have that you can't see in this shot. I had an Axiom Pro from M Audio that was causing me a lot of grief, and I sold it and I replaced it with this. It's a LauncKey 49 from Novation, and I'm super happy with it so far. It has transport controls and faders, and it was a real bargain for under $300. I also bought a larger display screen than I had before. This is a 28-inch monitor that's in 4K, and it gives me a lot more real estate to work on music. You can see I still use my laptop screen. I like to have a mixer open all the time, and that way I can see adjustments I'm making on the mix, as well as the arrange window for a lot of my recording. You might also notice this PreSonus fader port 16. I didn't buy it. It's on loan to me from a close friend, and I was trying it out with Logic and some other software, and I'm pretty happy with that. I still have a Motu Traveler, which is a Firewire interface, and I had a lot of problems with it recently. So I ended up buying an Apollo Twin X Thunderbolt, and it's the Duo, and I'm really happy with that. That's a huge improvement, getting into the UA world of plugins, and I did some testing with some different mics, and for vocals or any acoustics with all the plugins you get from Universal Audio. It's just a dream to have. Now I still have a Motu 8 Pre, which is also Firewire, and the Apollo Twin has an ADAT in. So I've got 8 preamps on the Motu feeding into the Apollo, and when you do that, the interface of the old gear of the Motu doesn't matter. You're just using the preamps, feeding it into ADAT, and the Apollo Twin is connected to my computer via Thunderbolt. And there's actually a hub behind here that connects all of my Firewire, Thunderbolt, and USB devices. So I would say that the biggest improvement that I made was the speakers, a Apollo Twin X audio interface, and the plugins that it came with, which are day and night better than anything I've heard before. I mentioned that I'm trying to set up for video. I bought a cheap webcam that's sitting on top of that monitor, and I had an older Microsoft HD cam, which is sitting over there to give sort of a side view. I have the ubiquitous Sony A5000, which is my primary camera. You'll see on top I bought a Sony microphone, and it sounds pretty good. I've done some tests with it. It's a stereo microphone, so if you're doing outside shots, you can spread the sound, or if you're just doing one-on-one, you can narrow the sound. And I've got iPhones and iPads that I'm using. So in total, I've got about 5 different cameras that are being used for different shots. This one top down, this holds an iPhone for an overhead shot, and that Microsoft camera over there gets a side shot. The quality of the cameras really varies. What I have found is that the Sony has the best quality for a sort of a talking headshot. And overall, it has excellent quality. I've adjusted the settings to maximize its capabilities. But even the cheaper cams are okay. If you go in and make adjustments in OBS, you can make minor adjustments to the settings for the camera to get a good quality picture. Large diaphragm condenser mic that I also use for podcasts and recording vocals right from the desk here. Both of those mics are currently hooked up. So you can see with the setup, I've got my laptop, which is not new. It's the same laptop I had before. It's a late 2014 MacBook Pro with 1 terabyte of storage and 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it's doing the job. It's also amazingly supporting 4K on the screen above. I'm really happy about its capabilities, and for now I'm sticking with that laptop, although it's a little bit ergonomically challenging to reach. You sort of get a perspective here that the new keyboard, which I really like, has pads on it. I also have a LaunchPad X kicking around that I use as a portable device. And one of the things I did is everything on the desk is attached. So the mic stands, the pillar that holds up the displays. I left enough room in all the cords that I could move things around. And this gives me the ability to stand up if I want and work on music. But the speakers are really on separate stands. I bought those stands because of 2 reasons. One, I wanted to free up space on the desktop, but also I had heard that it's best to isolate the speakers from the desk surface you're working on, because when you're listening to something at high volume, it shakes the desk and makes noise.